What is going on, guys? Andrew Acevedo here, back with some more hockey. The NHL trade deadline has passed, and there's still trades coming through. So this is what we've got as of 3:35 Central, 4:35 Eastern. There's still a bunch of trades still in the NHL trade queue, so God knows what else could break. But it looks like most of the big things have been leaked or announced via McKenzie or Drager with all that. So we're going to go through it. Obviously, if hockey's here, I always say it. If hockey's on the channel, Jimmy is in the building. What's going on, man?
How's it going? How's it going, everyone?
So pretty much, we are just going to go break. You get set up. We're just going to break through most of the big trades here that's happened pre-deadline, and a couple. Obviously, if anything else breaks during it, we will go through all of them. But so I guess we should start off from the 14th, a week ago. The first big kind of, Tyler Toffoli, I guess you could say, was the first big one from Calgary. But in the trade deadline season, Josh Manson gets traded. Where'd he go? Manson gets flipped from Anaheim for Drew Hellison and a second-round pick, beginning kind of the tiny breakdown of the Anaheim Ducks. Colorado gets a solid right shot. I believe he's a right shot defenseman. Pretty sure he shoots right side. And Josh Manson. Let's see what his year numbers here are. 47 games played, 4 goals, 9 points. But again, he is playing, I believe, on the second pair for Colorado behind the Taves and Makar pairing. So obviously, not having the burden of taking that first line right defenseman. Obviously, it's taken by the best defenseman in the league, Cale Makar. But Colorado's going for it, and obviously they made some more cap moves, and they made some more moves today, which we'll get to a bit later. Jim, what do you think about Manson to Colorado?
I think it's a good move. A second really isn't that bad considering some of the other defenseman trades we've seen. I know it was obviously like one of the first ones to come through, so it kind of, didn't have the chance to be influenced by like the Sherratt trade or anything like that. But I think it's a good move. Colorado, they're a lot of offense, and I think Manson's a pretty good defensive guy, like legit defenseman that can really help usher that blue line going into the playoffs and help stabilize, help out Darcy Kempfer and all that stuff back there. So I think it was a good move. Definitely a necessary one.
Yeah, as I'm trying to just get my description set up. But then we'll move on to a trade again. We're moving your favorite team, so you can go crazy about it. Frank Vatrano was moved for a fourth in 2022. Panthers were trying to trade cap space because they seem to be, especially after this trade, a very aggressive team making moves. Vatrano made his debut against Tampa. Looked pretty good, had some good shooting opportunities. How do you think he'll fit in with the Rangers, and do you think it was a good move adding Vatrano?
I didn't think it was a good move. Bottom six has been struggling for the Rangers the entire year, and he came in having only with 19 points on the season in 50 games, which isn't bad for a bottom six guy, but more points than anyone in our bottom six. So an instant improvement right there, just if you want to go off points, which I know isn't always the best. But so far in the couple games he's played, he definitely looks good. He has a lot of speed. Plays with that grit that our team was looking for so much in the offseason.
Oh boy.
And he's he has the 1 point for us so far. He got an empty goal last night against Carolina to kind of seal the deal with that shellacking, thanks to Georgiev. But he's looked good. I think he's going to fit well. I think he'd be a really good guy on the third line, and or maybe even second, but probably third line once Kakko comes back, and definitely could help get some scoring out of that bottom six, which we desperately need.
Which the Rangers did continue to add today, as I'm trying to continue to moving on to. I don't think this is the biggest overpayment, but definitely maybe the most overrated piece that was moved. Again, speaking of those Florida Panthers, they were the winner of the Ben Sherratt overpay, moving Tyler Semenick a forward, a first, and a fourth. I never got the big hype with him. I get he's a good defensive defenseman, but you're moving a first-round pick for a guy who's going to play on your bottom pair. Maybe not the best asset management, but I guess the Panthers are going for it, so they don't really care. They're kind of like Tampa, but they haven't had the legacy of Tampa, or at least they've won the Cups. Hell, they're like the Leafs. They can't win a first-round series, but hey, Sherratt played well against the Penguins. They played Montreal on the play-in, and he played well against the Leafs last year, so he does show up in the postseason. How much of an overpay is this for the Montreal Canadiens or Florida Panthers?
I think it's a a sizable overpay. I'm not sure if he's really worth the first, but defensemen were pricey in the offseason and they're pricey now at the trade deadline. I think, honestly, Calvin DeHaan is probably the better choice out of the two of them, but he didn't even seem like he got traded today. So, I mean, whatever works, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, we're sitting here saying it seems like a bit of an overpay, but if they win the cup, no one cares, you know?
Yeah, that will definitely relate to, I think, the biggest overpayment of the day, which we'll get to in a bit. Calle Yarncroke got moved from Seattle to Calgary, so another winger that the Calgary Flames went out and got. Also was good bunnies with Elias Lindholm, so that's why I guess that made sense for them. Getting moving only a second, a third, so a decent draft pick compensation for the Younker. The Penguins had a little bit of interest. Quality top 9 forward. Does this make Calgary a better team, and how much better does it make Calgary?
It certainly makes them a better team. Jan Krok is a solid player to have. I think he's been struggling a little bit at Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not really sure what his numbers look like. Seattle's been a joke
I
of,
have
of an expansion team compared to Vegas, so I haven't paid attention too much. But I know he's usually pretty good on the defensive side of the puck, and second, third, and the seventh. Maybe a little bit. Second's a little high, but I mean, I think it's a good move. I definitely think it makes him better, and I think it definitely helps him out and gives him some depth and a position of need, especially on the defensive side of the puck.
27 points in 51 games
Well,
for
that's not too
Kelly
bad, actually.
Yarncroke. So I think,
It's
and
pretty
he's a
solid.
Swede. So yeah, he is a Swede, and he had a good relationship with Elias Lindholm, so it made sense. So as I talked about before, the biggest overpayment. Hi, Kyle Dubas. He's sneaking on the screen. The Tampa Bay Lightning go out and acquire Brendan Hagel and 2 fourth-round picks in exchange for 2 first, Tyler Radish, and Boris. I've never could say this dude's name. Kachuk? Kachuk? What? How the hell do you say
Kachuk.
this?
I think it's Kachuk.
Kachuk? Okay. I mean, like it does say here the 2020, 23, and 24 draft picks are top 10 protected. No shit. I don't think Tampa's not going to be in the playoffs. So, I mean, good protection, barring like Varlamov and like everyone on the Tampa Bay Lightning just die. But
You say
I just want
Varlamov? You mean Vasilevsky?
Vasilevsky, Varlamov on the Islanders. Sorry, my bad. Too many Russian goalies, V's. But too many Russian goalies to begin with. Hagel was a guy, if you a lot of NHL like again, obviously on the dangle, he's in the dangle pod. He was talking about like, oh, Hagel's going to go for a lot. I'm like, okay, maybe he goes for like a first, and like a decent pick or a prospect. Not 2 first. I mean, he is putting up a crazy season or decent season for a bad team. 37 points, 21 goals, 16 assists in 56 games. But the big thing with Brandon Hagel is he's shooting 22% on the ice. That's not happening ever again. That screams Kasperi Kapanen last year. Crazy high shooting percentage. It is not going to be sustainable. And hey, Tampa's going for it. And I think most people have said Tampa can't make a bad trade because guess what? Tampa Bay has got back-to-back cups and are going for a three-peat here. So I don't think they care about future picks, but 2 firsts for a guy who's 23, so he is, I believe he is an RFA. So again, it's a good move from Tampa. Can fill him in your bottom 6. And knowing Tampa Bay, he's going to score the game-winning goal to clinch the Stanley Cup final for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I mean, listen, 2 firsts is a lot, but like you said, they're top 10 protected, barring something crazy does happen. They like fall off the face of the earth. I don't think they will either. But I mean, at the end of the day, Hagel's on pace for 55 points. That's a second line winger right there. That's really, and 2 first for second line winger isn't too bad. At 1.5 mil for the next 2 years plus the rest of this season, so 2.5 seasons. On top of that, like you said, he's 23 and RFA cap controlled. Like 2 firsts, it's a lot, but that's a that's a really good move. Like, you're getting a top 6 caliber points, like in terms of points and like talent. I know the 22% obviously isn't sustainable, but I mean that's not just going to disappear. He clearly has skill. That's not just going to go anywhere. And Tampa, if anything, should just amplify that, playing on a team like Tampa with that coaching of John Cooper and the team around him now. He's got, I mean, not that Kane and Taves are like bad players or Brinkat or Doc or anything like that, but I mean, now they have they had, just the team around him is also just immensely good, and I don't think that's just going to disappear. Was it sustainable? No. Is it going to fall off the face of the earth? Probably not. Like maybe he'll settle down like a 14, 12%, something like that. And still, you're going to take that every day of the week, and maybe he'll get a couple more assists and 55 points. I mean, on pace for it. That's a top 6 winger right there. And for the next 2.5 seasons at 1.5 mil. Two first a lot, but I think honestly it's pretty good value at the end of the day.
Here's I'm gonna not completely crap on that, but he was expected more in Chicago to produce more. Yes, they have Kane, they've got the Brinket, but he's not playing in the top 6 in Tampa. He's gonna go into a role in their bottom 6.
He's probably gonna be third line.
Exactly, top 9.
But they
whatever.
roll all 4 lines because they got talent on every line.
Yeah, that's
last year when they were in the freaking Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, they were rolling their third line. I felt like every other shift.
And they always. Yeah, and we'll get to one of their other bottom 6 retooling that we talked about yesterday. We didn't know what the hell they were doing, but it's Tampa, so we're really not going to doubt it. But we'll get to these other 2 big trades that happened again, 15 minutes apart, and my phone was charging. I didn't have my phone. I was watching Spider-Man Far From Home, and I'm charge my phone, and I just see Drew's gone and Hampus Lindholm's a Bruin. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Hampus Lindholm, and Cody Curran, whatever defensive prospect, I'm guessing. For a first, 2 seconds, I'm not even trying, and John Moore.
Right.
I'm not even
Vakanainen,
whatever the hell his name is. So, but he also was and then he was acquired as a UFA at the time of the trade, and then was extended 8 by 6.5. Lindholm was always a guy I always thought was I don't know if I would call him underrated defenseman, but nobody talked about Hampus Lindholm. And yeah.
You go ahead. You can finish your thing. No,
I get it. Maybe he's a left shot. He's going to be behind McAvoy. He'll be that second pairing left deep underneath McAvoy. The contract itself, I don't like giving the term, the 8 years, but 6.5 for a pretty solid defenseman it's a high number, but I don't think, especially for the market value of a solid top 4 defenseman, that's not a crazy number. Maybe you'll be different than me, but I've always liked Hampus Lindholm. I think he'll fit well in Boston. I don't think they're going to win anything, but I think it's a good move. It gave up a haul, and at least that he's extended. It's not a rental. It makes, at least it's comfortable for the Bruins to make this trade knowing now that Lindholm's going to be here for 8 years.
My thoughts, I think this might be one of the biggest overpays of trade deadline season here. I don't think he's worth arguably more than Sherratt.
He's better than Sherratt. Come on, you're not doing that. He's better than Sherratt.
He is. You're right. He is, but he's worth an extra second and what else? A third.
It was It was first. Sherratt was. Hold up. I'll go to Sherratt. Sherratt was a first, and a fourth, and a prospect that I don't really know. Where you get Lindholm for 2. So you get additionally 2 seconds, and then roster. But you also have to remember the cap. So that's why you got those 2 guys.
Yeah. All right. There's not that much of a difference in the trade. Extra second pick is really what you're saying for the most part.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I'm indifferent on Hampus. I've never really been high on him, but I never really thought he was bad either. I always thought he's been solid. You're bang on, average, consistent, 4th defenseman, maybe 3rd, depending on the team and stuff like that. I think, like you said, I think the contract is the biggest problem. 6.5, like you said, a little high, but at the end of the day, with the way defensemen have been going for the past season or 2, probably not that high, honestly. But the term definitely, I feel like, hurts. But at the end of the day, Boston's another one of those teams that's just they got a year, 2, maybe 3, and that's it. Yeah. So they're pushing all their chips in to try to get one before that window closes. Bergeron might retire at the end of this year. That's really the start of it. That's the start of the downfall of Boston, I think. So I get it.
All right. Who gets more? Will the 2 right shot defensemen in the offseason get more? Will Klingberg and Letang get more than 6.5?
I mean, Letang has already stated that he wants like north of 7, and the Pens said they're not giving it to him. So
they're not giving. They should not give.
they said they don't want to. Who knows if things will change? I think
Just
Letang probably will get north of 7 in the open market, especially if he is only looking for like a 3-year deal, 4-year deal, whatever it was that he was saying he was looking for a couple months ago. Because I mean that's not like super long. It's not short, but it's not like super long either. Klingberg though, he's really good. I'm trying to think. How old is Klingberg?
He's 28.
He's what,
Because
29?
that's my point. I'm going to make a point. Am I a bad Pens fan that I want Letang to walk and then the Penguins to take that money and sign Klingberg to do the same exact thing Letang does and is younger?
Yeah, like if you're gonna give term to anyone, obviously you want to give it to Klingberg because Letang's 33. All right,
30, 33, 34, 33, 34.
Yeah, I think Letang's 33, right? 34.
34.
No, he's 34. So I mean, yeah. So it seems like Letang wants to play till he's 36. He wants like a 3-4 year deal. He wants to play till like he's 36, whatever, 37, something like that.
If on the Pens, just
no, that would be even longer. I'm sorry, he's 34. He wants to play till like 38. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Pens should let Letang walk if that's really what he wants. He wants like a 4-year deal north of 7 mil. I think he should walk. Not that he doesn't deserve it. I mean, he's almost a point per game this year as a freaking defenseman, which is nuts. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying I don't know if that's the right move for the Pens. I think that another team should maybe take a chance on him, and he'll definitely probably get whatever money he wants in the open market without a doubt.
Yeah. All right, let's save the offseason talk for after we get to the trades. I do want to talk about the Pens a little bit, and maybe the Rangers post deadline as well. But next thing, a beautiful sight in my heart because I fucking despise Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux off the Flyers to Florida and a 5th-round picks and Connor Ballman, whoever. Again, I'm not with baseball prospects. I barely know hockey prospects. And German Rustov is center. And the Flyers are getting back Owen Tippett, a former first-round pick, a 2024 first-round pick, and a 2023 third. A lot of Flyers fans are pissed at this package.
Honestly,
pretty much you're getting a future first and a former first for Giroux, who knows if he was. I mean, he's probably leaving in the offseason, so getting anything for him. But also, you have to think that Giroux had the no trade clause, so he kind of like said, I'm only going to Philadelphia or to Florida, so that like Florida has leverage. So this wasn't like a Raquel or situation. I'm just using Raquel because he was like one of the bigger wingers traded where he doesn't have a no trade. So the Flyers get shafted. I think both of us. That's a smile on our face. What do you think of the Giroux?
Of course. I mean, it puts me a smile on my face that the Flyers got shafted. It doesn't put a smile on my face that Giroux stayed in the East Coast, which obviously we knew was going to happen, but still.
Yeah, we'll worry about that later. That's a wait. That's a wait.
At least
later.
He's not in the division because he didn't want to play in the division.
Yeah, let's just go. Hell, I'd rather him in Florida than the Rangers. So
Yeah, because I mean, I'm pretty sure the 3 biggest teams on him was Florida, Colorado. Oh no, 4. Florida, Colorado, Boston, and the Rangers. And he flat out said, "I don't want to play for for Boston and the Rangers." And he said Colorado was just too far from him. He didn't want to be that far from his family. All
right, so yeah, that's our shtick on Giroux. I piss off. Wouldn't it be a shame? And we'll talk, and it involves our next team. Wouldn't it be a shame that Giroux, who barely gets out of the first round with Philly, collapse with the Panthers, who can't get out of the first round either, and lose to the team that consistently chokes out of the first round? Speaking of that team, Toronto Maple Leafs have acquired Mark Giordano and Colin Blackwell for exchange for 2 seconds and a third. Dubas was hot on it. He did not want to trade it first, and he really didn't want to trade any of his prospects. And he gets what he needs in a defensive defenseman. And it also helps that Giordano had the no-move clause. He says, I only want to go, kind of like Giroux, I want to go to Toronto, which is good to see. And I was seeing a lot of Leafs fans because obviously I am a semi-Leaf supporter as an Austin Matthews fan, and I want them to win a series for once because I like Steve Dangle. I want him to be happy for once, unlike most people. That Giordano is more of a leadership move, and like this room in Toronto needed some. I love JT, not really good leader. Giordano can come into this locker room and hopefully maybe get this room, can give it the leadership. Yes, are they probably going to get smoked by Florida or Tampa round 1? Most damn likely. But
Those
I
two are
like
just
what they're
wagons.
doing with.
There's 3 wagons this year, and 3 of them. I would say
They're
no.
all
I'm
in the
sorry. There's
East,
4 wagons this year,
and they're
and
all in
3
the
of
East.
them are in the East.
Oh, Colorado. Yeah, Colorado. Yeah, forgot about Colorado.
He's giving
Well,
Colorado the
Cali,
4th spot. The other 3
Where's
were
Calgary then?
Carolina, Florida, and Tampa.
We got Calgary. Calgary's up there, leading the league in points.
Calgary ain't a wagon, bro. Nothing. You can't change my mind. Markstrom. I think it's more of Markstrom. Like for the Rangers, you say it's Igor. I think it's more of Markstrom for them.
They have people who score on 5-5. That's not a point. Not a point. We're not getting into this conversation now. Maybe after we get done. But I like what the Leafs are doing here. Is they're trying to be Tampa, and I mean that as name someone who plays on the right side of Tampa Bay, like the left side. Who plays on the right side of Tampa?
I don't know who plays on the west side. I just know they have a stacked defense of Hedman, Sergachev,
Left shot,
McDonough.
left shot.
Uh,
Who's on the right side? Who's on the right side of Tampa?
I know who's on the right side. I'm just blanking
Who?
right now.
Name
I know
one.
who's on the right side. I'm just blanking right now.
But that's my point. That's my point. You think of Tampa?
Players though, they're all named like they're all good players. Okay, why can't I think of this right now?
Slater Cuckoo, like Chernak, I think was playing for them. That's the right shot.
Good right defenseman. Okay,
that's Jimmy. Really?
No, Chernak is a solid defenseman. Is he like gonna
is he
blow your mind? Is he some superstar? Absolutely not. But he's a solid right defenseman.
That's where I'm going here. Is the Leafs are trying to copy what Tampa Bay is. The left shot. Riley, Giordano, Muzzin when healthy. That's their left side. Then you also have Brody, who's probably going to play with Giordano, the former Flames pairing. They're going to go back together. Riley and Lyubushkin's going to play. That played well the last 2 games with Toronto. They'll be the top pair. And then you're telling me Muzzin's going to be playing with either Sandin or Liljegren? Like, that's the best decor that core has gotten. Is right now.
That's the best D.
That's the best they've got
in a long time.
But of course, the goaltending, who the hell knows? And that's not a question for Tao. But the fact that they got Giordano and he wanted to be there, maybe the leadership can come into that room. Obviously, former Norris, he's not the same player, obviously. But
I will say this about him. He's not the same player he was. He was definitely known for more like his passing and leading the offense and stuff like that, like from his own end. But he's evolved. He's a really good in his own zone now. Has a really good stick, really smart positioning as you would expect from a veteran of his caliber and stuff like that. So although he's not the player he once was, he's evolved into this new player that's still really good and nice to have in your own zone when you're up a goal.
Yeah. And to be again, he's going to go back with his former D pairing and DJ Brody. I'm just going to say because the Pens did make another trade today. Nathan Beaulieu for a conditional 7th. It was an LTIR move. Who really cares if he plays? He gets healthy in the postseason. Cool. Speaking of Penguins, I guess this is technically the biggest move of the day. I would say, and I don't know how to feel about it. The Chicago Blackhawks have traded Marc-Andre Fleury to the Minnesota Wild for a conditional first. The condition becomes a first if Minnesota makes the conference finals. Okay, maybe call me a Wild hater, and I think Kaprizov is great. Literally can't name anybody else on that team. I know Fiala is going to be a free agent in the upcoming year. Why the hell are you waiving your no move clause to go to Minnesota?
Well, I don't know if you heard Dubas talk at all. Like shortly, like around 3:30, I think he talked Eastern time. He said because they asked what happened because there was that rumor between Chicago and Toronto about Fleury.
For Hagel, yeah.
And and he asked what happened, and Dubas kind of like attacked the GM of Chicago, Davidson or something like that. I don't know.
Brendan,
and he was like, "Well, you're gonna have to talk to him about that because something," and it made it seem like at least Dubas made it seem like that maybe those talks were a little bit exaggerated. And like he was maybe just like kind of inquiring, like most teams would for a goalie of Fleury's caliber, but nothing ever really serious came about it. So I don't know. With that being said, I'm not sure how much interest was really out there for Fleury. I mean, think about the teams that are in the playoffs right now. It's like you have Carolina, they have Freddie, who's having the best year. Rangers have Igor, who's having the best year. You have Tristan Jarry, who's having arguably maybe even a Vezina year, definitely an all-star year. You have Jack Campbell, who had an all-star year. You had Tampa, who has Vasilevsky. You have Calgary, who has Markstrom. You have Colorado, who has Kemper. They can't really afford Fleury, and Kemper's played decent. I just don't know if there's really much of a market for Fleury. to be honest.
I mean, yeah, but like, I don't know. I again, obviously, as a Pens fan, it was like, oh, bring Flower back. It wasn't coming back.
Yeah.
But with the Leafs putting Mrazek on waivers, and if that was, again, maybe Dubas is saying it's BS, but if there was a way that they could have moved Mrazek in this deal to get Flower, maybe it was blown out of proportion from Davidson, but if I'm the Leafs, and not getting a goalie at all, like, and you're gonna believe in this kid and hope for Jack to get healthy.
Yeah,
And
I
like, hell,
mean,
even their college free agent they were gonna sign, he goes somewhere else.
he gets picked up by Arizona. Hold on? Can we just take a quick time out? How stupid that rule is? Waivers is there to help people that are being sent down from our NHL team to get a second chance on another NHL team. Why the hell does someone who's being signed from another league have to go through waivers? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But regardless, that's a different conversation about a different situation. The way Dubas was talking, I think he was looking at goalies. Like I said, I don't think anyone really interested him. Um, Whatever was happened with Fleury or whatever goalies are out there, I don't know. Um, the way he said, well, we just have to be a team. This is a team sport at the end of the day. And when someone is down, you have to work as a team to pick them back up. And I mean, listen, Campbell has played really well for the Leafs the past couple of seasons. And I don't think the past month or two, especially if he's playing injured, is a really good representation of how good he has been. And I think the Leafs will be okay providing he can get healthy. But that's the question: can he be healthy?
Dadonov was just traded to the Ducks.
To the Ducks, really? I know I saw something about Dadonov moving. I'm surprised the Ducks.
I just saw the J Fresh card. He's going to the Ducks.
Okay, let's see if I can find the trade. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, see if McKenzie or somebody tweeted it out. But I do want to talk about again Colorado beefing up here. There's been some Tyner move. Justin Braun, do you care to the Rangers at all?
It's a good move. Maybe moves out Nemeth. I know he plays I know he plays the right side. Nemeth plays left. But I think if they're willing to give him a chance on his opposite hand, I would love to see him there with Schneider. But I mean, at the end of the day, it just gives us depth in case someone gets hurt or someone starts playing really bad. So I'm not don't care too much. It's a good move just to shore things up. That's about it.
Just going through if there's anything else. I wanted to talk about Colorado here because obviously Luka and the TSN, which is Justin Barron was a prospect that he really didn't want to give up if it was only for a big trade, and Barron and a second to
Wait,
Montreal
I'm sorry.
for
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can I cut you off here?
What do
That
you got?
Domi deal was apparently a three-way trade with
For Florida.
Florida
Yeah.
paying a quarter. I did not see that before.
Yeah, I was going to get to that later. Well,
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, we'll continue back. We'll start back.
But Montreal moves Lehkonen, and they move him for Justin Barron. So the Habs get a decent haul back for Lehkonen. And the Avs, I think, didn't the Avs just give, who was it? Was it Avs that gave him the extension? Didn't Lehkonen get like an 8-year extension too?
Oh, did he? He might have.
Hold up, let me go to Instagram now. So there's the official. No, Kakiniemi got the extension 8 by 4.5. Not Lehkonen,
Yeah.
but good move from the Rockies. Wow, the Avalanche adding some more depth. Leddy gets moved to St. Louis. Really not that big a deal anymore. Leddy's not what he used to be. Cogliano, again, Colorado deepening again. Cogliano for a 5th. Good job for them adding some depth. Johan Larson to the Caps. They get a 50. Arizona retaining 50%. Again, if there's anything you want to say about these, just jump in. If there's anything,
Yeah.
if not, really, they're kind of small. Hamburglar going to the Devils for Shar. Is the Merkley for Benetto trade for the Rangers.
Yeah.
Merkley, former first-round pick. Again, I think we were talking before. What's going on? Baseball, is that what's going on? So, Potato, and then, obviously, Tyler Mott, Dottom Sixer for a 4th line. Rangers bulked up a couple trades here. What are you feeling about Merkley and Mott? And then we'll obviously get to the big one in a second.
Merkley, I'd be surprised if he sees any AHL time with the Rangers. I feel like that was just a move. Like, we have a lot of defensemen in our system that have played NHL games that could slot up if someone gets hurt or starts playing bad, especially when you add a Braun to the mix as well. So I think this was just a swap. Like, we don't need Potato. We may need a forward if someone gets hurt or starts playing bad and stuff like that down the stretch, and Nick Merkley is just someone that could slide up at some point. But I don't think he's gonna see the NHL roster anytime soon unless something crazy happens. As for Mott, though, I've always been kind of big on Mott the past couple seasons. I think he's the definition of the bottom six forward. Like he's just the guy that you want on your bottom six. He knows how to do penalty kills. He's good in his own zone, and he's pretty decent on faceoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Like I know he doesn't always play center, and he's not known for necessarily being there, but when he does have to take faceoffs, he's pretty decent at the dot, which the Rangers have needed help with since 2008. I think I saw a stat last night. I think it was where the Rangers haven't finished a season above 50% on faceoffs since the 08-09 season, which is just ridiculous. So
there you go. Yeah, Rangers didn't go big, but they went depth. But one team that did, obviously, is my team, and they went with a trade. Was hoping that Hextall wouldn't be his conservative normal self and go out and make a move as this team needs it because, like I tempted earlier, I think Letang's gone. I think Gino's back, but I think Tanger's gone. I think Rust is gone. I think he's going to get an absolute payday on the open market, especially after this season. So they go out and make a trade at $259. Rickard Rakell is a Pittsburgh Penguin in exchange for the prospect that we still don't know what prospect is going other way. A second, Zach Aston-Reese, and Dominique Simone. Thank God Dominique Simone is off my hockey team. Like, you guys hate Greg McKegg and, Libor Hayek. This is what the difference is. I have had to deal with Dominique Simone for 6 years.
You've hated him since the moment he got there.
Just despise this cone. And he would trade him, then JR brought him back for free agency. Then we traded him again, and then Hextall brought him back. I'm like, can this guy just go away? So Simone's gone, knowing them will re-sign him in the offseason. Zach Aston-Reese last year was one of the most underrated defensive forwards in hockey. He was top 10 in all the great defensive analytical stats. He last year provided a little bit of offense. I think scored about 12 goals a year last year. This year has 2 goals. And he finally scored his second, was an empty netter 2 nights ago. It took him 30 games to score his second goal of the year. So second round pick. I don't really care about the prospect. We're still tuned, but the Pens farm system sucks, so who really cares? Rickard is going to play, I think, on Gino's right side. They keep saying that maybe you move Russ back down to Gino, and then you put Rickard on the first line. We'll see who comes out. We got 20 games to play with that, but as of right now, I think he'll come in and slide in on Gino's right with a healthy Zucker. And this is a move the Penguins needed to make. Obviously, I think this means probably you're going to keep Zucker on LTIR till the postseason because the cap obviously bends right now, and Zucker's got a high cap. Don't know what they're going to do. But a playoff lineup of Rust, Jake, Sid, Zucker, Malkin, Rickard, Carter, Evan Rodriguez, and Dan and Heinen, and then on the fourth line being Bluger with either Boyle and what the hell is the other? What's the big contract they gave up last year? Brock McGinn. That's a decent line for the in the defensively. They didn't trade the decor, even though I was hoping they would trade the defenseman because they are getting cluttered up with the defensemen, especially on the left side. But they didn't move it. More of an offseason move, I could see. So I like the Rickard move to the Penguins. Let's talk Domi. And I laugh. I was saying.
One thing. Could you mention Cap? Can we just take a quick moment to appreciate Colorado tweeting out after they said we're done making trades and we're cap compliant without LTIR. Thank you, Colorado.
Thank you, Colorado. Good job. This trade is not completely official, but I laugh. I'm texting you, the Atlantic's going wild. The Metro been quiet as shit. The Rangers are making some debt moves. The Penguins had not have traded for Rickard yet. And then legit, 2 minutes after the Penguins have gotten Rickard, I think Drager, or I don't think it was McKenzie. I think it was
one of the two.
I think it was Drager that said, Carolina's in on Domi. I'm like, of course they are.
Because they couldn't just sit there and do nothing.
They couldn't just be the juggernaut that they are. No, let's go get freaking Max Domi. And there is, like you said, Florida is involved, taking some money going to Carolina for Domi. We don't know what else is going on. Domi fitting in Carolina, third line maybe. I guess you
Yeah,
would say.
probably third line. I mean, the top six seems pretty solidified, and so yeah, probably third line, probably winger on side of Stahl because Stahl's just a beast in the middle there. So I think he's gonna go anywhere. So I would say winger on third line.
And I guess we don't have the Dadonov trade yet. Rangers, it's Stanley Cup or bust. Don't think you're even getting out of the first round, but hey, high expectations. I like
Tell
it.
that
You're
to
probably
choking
getting
Jari,
bounced in the
okay?
first round. Jari's already bottled up Igor this year, and he's gonna do it again on Friday, which we'll live stream for that. But yeah, hey, even if you win against the Penguins, you ain't beating Carolina. So maybe
Yeah,
you win
that's
around.
fair. And if you guys
Maybe you
beat
win
us, you
around.
ain't beating Carolina, so it's fine.
Hey, we'll use our pixie dust
Alexander
magic.
Georgiev, goalie Carolina. We could beat them with Igor. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. That's whatever. Speaking of, I guess, the biggest move the New York Rangers made today, all the details are finally out. The Rangers acquire winger from the Jets, Andrew Kopp, and a sixth for prospect. I guess he's a top prospect because Jimmy was pissed. Morgan Barron, a fifth, and 2 conditional seconds. One of the second-round picks can turn into a first if the Rangers go to the Eastern Conference Finals and Kopp plays 50% of their playoff games. And the other second-round pick can be a Winnipeg option for 2023 and 2022. Can you take over for 1 second? I think I need to go do something very quickly. So go off Kopp and Barron, and what do you think?
Okay. Well, to say this, I like Barron. I think he was probably better than quite a few guys we've had in our bottom six this season. But I don't know, for some reason, whether it was Gallant, Jury, whoever, didn't really like him. So I'm a little sad to see him go, but I guess I'm happy to see him go somewhere else and get a chance, hopefully. Because I do think he has a pretty good future in the NHL, even if maybe not necessarily like a top six guy, but middle six, bottom six. He definitely seems like he has what it takes. He knows that he has a role on a team, and he just needs to be that role. And like I know, like the Rangers, our top six was pretty set with like Strome and Mika and all that. So over the offseason, he said that he worked on being good in his own zone, being good with the stick, being in the face-off dot, and all that stuff, which is what the Rangers needed in the bottom six. But I guess it just wasn't good enough for Jury or Gallant. So I'm most upset to see him go. I think he's going to be pretty good NHLer throughout his career when he gets his chance, and hopefully he does get it from the Jets. As for the seconds, not too butthurt. I mean, Kopp is on pace for 50-something points this season. You know, even as a pure rental, I'm not really upset about it. If they do extend him, I don't know how that would be possible, but if they do, that just makes it even better. I think he could really help out our bottom six, who needs some scoring at 5-on-5. I mean, our whole team needs scoring at 5-on-5, but the bottom six desperately needs scoring just in general. So I think that could be helpful. And if I'm not mistaken, he is also a lefty. Yes, he is, which is something the Rangers also seem to not have a lot of and kind of could use. So that can maybe help out like a second power play unit, or maybe they want to give him a run at the first power play unit, even though that's kind of been set for the past 2 seasons. We could definitely try to slot up from there. And I know it's Andrew's back now, so you can take it back.
Yeah. Hey, Jari better than Igor. 1-0. Literally shut out, outdueled Igor. Literally outdueled him.
There was 1 goal the entire game.
Exactly. And who gave it up?
Okay.
Dude, Jari clears Igor. You know why? Because I'm not gonna say that. I won't say that. That would totally.
Because you're wrong. You just
no. I know I'm right, bro.
No,
I know I'm right.
No.
How many playoff wins does Igor Shesterkin have?
Igor hasn't made the playoffs yet because the Rangers have sucked for the past 3 years.
He shucked booty cheeks. Shucking the booty cheeks. The Kopp move, obviously we watch a lot of Bar Down, so Jesse was pretty much saying the Kopp was going to get moved anyway. He thought he'd get a first for him. Technically, I guess it could still be a first if the Rangers go on a miracle run and Igor just bodies everybody in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
I mean, we've seen Hank do it, and Igor has Hank numbers right now, so yeah, it's possible. Not saying,
or the Rangers might burn him out, and he might even make the play. He might be injured by the playoffs. Who knows? The Rangers are going to just burn him out. But again, it's a good move. Kopp's a good quality player. Middle six forward. Again, like he could Capo's still out. Lafreniere is playing on the first line. So again, some more depth on the left side. I don't hate it. I don't know much about Barron. Jimmy gave you the whole breakdown of Barron. The 2 first, 2 seconds. Again, it could be 2 seconds. It could be a first. Again, if you go on a run, let's say you do get bounced in the first round, you're giving up a second. You're not getting giving up a first. Doesn't hurt as much. If you go on the run, probably run into Tampa or Florida, and maybe you go on a cup run, and maybe it's worth it. So we don't know. I like this move way more than I like Brendan Hagel. Like, at least for that fact. Like, Jesus.
At least Hagel has term, bro, at 1.5. Like you
But that is true. He does pressing the dislikes on this streak. Come on, Daniel. But yeah, at least he does have a little more. At least, but yeah. And Jesse's saying he's gonna get 4.5.
45.
4.5 or higher in the offseason.
Definitely not re-signing with the Rangers if that's the case.
Because of us and you setting Tanev at 3.5, he's saying like he can get 4.5 or higher.
I mean, I guess if we lose Strome, we could definitely take him for 4.5.
I mean, you can flip that. You could totally, you can flip the contracts and just give what you're going to give Strome this year to. You could do that.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I guess we could, right?
I mean, technically, that is very. You could do that. I mean, just don't give him 6 years. You know,
please, guys,
or 8. Don't do 8.
And the nice thing about Kopp is that, he would get Strowman was out. He's a right-handed. Adds Kopp, which is left-handed. And the Rangers need left-handed freaking shooters because we don't got any freaking left-handers on our offense for some reason.
Yeah, you don't got guys that put it in the back of the net and sub your top 6. But all right, I think that's everything. Again, there's still more trades to come. Again, what's it called was saying there's still like 30 trades in the trade waiting room, but it's now official for Pittsburgh. And the prospect was. Oh, they trade. Okay, it's one of the goaltending prospects from Pittsburgh is going to Anaheim.
Which one did they trade?
Callie Klang. Anaheim is also retaining 35% over Carter Rakell's annual value. Just going through Twitter just in case anything else happens. Again, the Rangers, like we said, the Rangers traded. We'll refresh trade bait real quick just in case. The Nick Paul trade is now official.
That's only just now official. That came out at like 12 o'clock today.
No, it was. Sorry, I'm just going through my timeline.
Okay. Can we talk about how the Islanders didn't think? Lou's a joke.
Yeah, you want to go off? Go off.
The Islanders are stupid. Not the Islanders. Lou is stupid. He just he re-signed Cal and Parise. Like, don't get me wrong, Cal's good. Parise's washed. But even then, you're getting another year older. You didn't win it the past 2 seasons. You flopped this year. Clearly, you need to make a change with this team, and you just keep doubling down. It's like the Leafs. It's like Dubas. He might be worse than Dubas because at least Dubas is doubling down with talented players.
I mean, hell, and also Dubas paid Matthews, Tavares, Marner, and Nylander. Who the?
That's what I'm saying. At least Dubas doubled down with talented players. Lou keeps doubling down with these scrubs in the bottom 6.
Yeah, I don't. Hell, Barzal would look good in black and orange, black and gold.
Barzal would look great in blue and red as our second line.
Oh, but he's over. But whoa! But I'm telling everyone, but you call him overrated. But if he becomes a Ranger, then he's not. He fit real good. Hell, the only reason the Islanders have that Barzal.
Listen, he can still be overrated, and I'll be happy with him being a Ranger.
He'd be my overrated player, and
exactly.
But so I guess we could preview, the rest post trade deadline a little bit, and then maybe look forward to the offseason a little bit. Obviously, I think the 8 teams in the East are locked up, barring somebody turns a Mets style collapse and loses 12 of 20. I mean, it does line up perfectly with the Mets, but it's Pittsburgh. Well, first is Carolina, then Pittsburgh, Rangers, and then Washington in the first wild card spot, I believe. And then Tampa, Florida, and the Leafs with Boston in that other wild card spot in the East. The West is a little more not open. Vegas isn't even in a playoff spot right now.
I know. Vegas fell apart, bro. Laners started playing like crap because they decided to dookie my boy, Flower, and treat him like dirt. And they're getting their
now he's your boy.
Back.
Okay.
As soon as he left the Penguins, he was my boy. As soon as he left the Penguins, he was my boy. As soon as Vegas said his name,
so
on
Colorado,
stage,
obviously,
he was my boy.
Colorado and St. Louis, Minnesota have the division spots in the Central. In the Pacific, it's the Flames, it's the Kings, and the Oilers with Vegas 2 points out of the division spot. I think they are technically they are in the second wild card
Oh yeah,
behind
that's it. They do have a lot. They do have a spot.
the Preds. So
Can we talk about the Preds? Right there. I wasn't expecting them to be in a playoff spot.
what the hell is there to talk about? I mean, UC Saros is a god. It's literally legit.
I mean, yeah,
all you can
UC Saros is an amazing.
It's like you notice if you have a good goalie, you can be a bum team, the New York Rangers, and win. You know,
we're better than half the West.
well, I mean, the West sucks. I mean, come on.
Half the West.
I mean, come on. The West is the West. It's mid.
I mean, yeah,
Like-
you're right. It is. But at the end of the
mean,
day,
come on.
I said this. I don't know if I said this before, Shu, or right when we started. I think personally, I think it goes Florida, Tampa, Carolina, top three without a doubt. However order you want to put it.
Yeah.
Then I would probably say the rest of the teams are pretty fucking equal, especially after the trade deadline.
Leafs, Penguins, Rangers, like that next crew, I guess.
Maybe
The Leafs are the
Washington, a
weakest.
little bit of an outlier in the lower direction,
Who?
like at the bottom end. Washington, like maybe.
Oh yeah, I'm not even putting
they're
Washington.
like the
Washington's
weak link
three.
of the 8 teams. Like,
oh yeah, I think it's 3 brackets. I think it's Carolina, Tampa, and Florida. That sure. And then I think it's Pittsburgh, Rangers, Leafs, and then Boston and Washington. Like, I think it's 3. Like those 2 bottom teams aren't winning shit. The Rangers, Penguins, and Leafs are all the same. Like all have good talent. The Penguins have the most championship experience. The Leafs don't win. The Rangers are young, so it's like you're all in that same tier.
I honestly, I've been saying it to CJ, and I'm a little hesitant to mention this to you, but I think the Penguins are probably the next. I think the Penguins are the 4th best team behind Florida, Tampa, Carolina.
They are. It's not.
They are. I didn't want to admit it to you, but you know.
Well, you know it's right. You got to say the truth. Like the Rangers, like
it's because of Sullivan. All right, I'm not even saying it's because of the players. It's because of Sullivan. It's like Rod the Bod with Carolina, and it's Sullivan with the Penguins. All right, those 2 coaches are the best coaches in the league, and they get every single ounce out of their players every single night. It's amazing. It's incredible.
I'm already ready to see Drew O'Connor become a fucking legend in the postseason.
Exactly. It doesn't matter who the hell it is. They're just a god.
Drew O'Connor,
some guy out of the 2nd league in Swedish, and call him up to be a not first line because they didn't be playing with Crosby. 3rd liner playing with some other no names pulled up out of the NCAA.
And Big Game Jeff, baby.
45 points out of them. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, they haven't developed, a league goal scorer like Jake Gensel, so nobody's gotten to that level. But, so, yeah, I still think my cup prediction is still probably Carolina and Colorado. I don't think the deadline changes that. I think Tampa runs out of gas, like the Penguins did. I don't think they three-peat. They run out of gas chasing the 3rd. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose in the 2nd round.
I think Colorado's an easy pick to say they're going to make it to the final on the West side. I would say it's either Florida or Carolina for the East. Florida or Carolina.
Yeah. I think Tampa runs out of gas like Pittsburgh did, and I think they can.
Yeah, it is. It is. So
I want Leafs in
play
Tampa.
that much hockey.
I want Leafs Tampa first round. Yeah.
You want what?
And I mean, they also got luxury of like. They aren't like the Penguins. They didn't go through what the Penguins did because they've had these COVID years and they had, the fucking big ass layoffs and shit.
This is true.
So like they don't have what the Penguins did, but still
helps them out. But at the end of the day, it's still so hard to play that much hockey.
Of course.
And just not get tired and banged up and bruised and.
And again, like there is a world where they lose in the 1st round. Like
there is. I mean, we saw it against CBJ
the
year before they won the cup.
I told you it was going to happen. You said no.
You did say that, and yeah.
It's like I told you they were going to get swept. Like, no, they're not.
I said I gave you full credit for saying that was going to happen, and I said I could definitely see it. It would be hilarious, but I just don't think it's going to happen at the same time. Like, and sure enough, it happens, and it was fucking hilarious.
Okay,
it was amazing. It was comedy.
Is it bad I want the Leafs to fall out of that division spot so they can play Tampa round 1?
The Leafs are playing Tampa round 1 as it is.
No, Florida's in front of them.
Yeah,
Florida's
it's
won.
Toronto. It's Toronto, Tampa for round one. Florida,
Oh, okay,
Washington.
then stay wherever the hell
Yeah, Florida, Washington.
Dude, wouldn't it be funny? Just think about the storyline, and if they beat Tampa to end their
No,
three-peat and win
I
a
think
round.
if you want to go true villain story, you have to find a way for Boston to knock
No,
Tampa down to the wild
no,
card.
no,
All right,
no,
that's the
no,
full
no,
redemption story
no,
right
no,
there.
no, 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 and no,
That
no.
is the full redemption
No, I
right
don't know.
there.
The Leafs want to win a round. They don't need to see Boston at all. They would be perfectly fine without seeing Boston at all. Hell,
If
they want
you
to see black and gold.
really want to go full redemption arc, it has to start with Boston.
Fine. If they need to see a black and gold team, they'll see the Penguins in the Eastern Conference Finals. You happy? Oh man, that would hurt me watching that series. Again, we've said this how many years? What would that would actually happen? What would happen?
The Blues can't win a freaking round.
They went around, please. Like we're fucking predicting the Pens and the Leafs in the fucking Eastern Conference Finals. But I guess you want to talk. I guess a little bit before we get off here, Cop extension. We kind of did, but what do the Rangers do in the offseason? Is that Patrick Kane or DeBrincat trade happening? Would they do it? What are they giving up? You know, I think the Pens. I could talk Pens after the fact if you want to do that.
What the plan is for the offseason? I heard a rumor that Dolan gave Jury a deadline that they need to make the final within 3 years, starting this year. So they're already almost.
You're
through
losing
the first
round.
year.
If Dolan's putting in shit, you're losing first round.
And I don't know how accurate that is, but I've heard that. And that scares me. That being said, Jury was smart this year, but at the end of the day, it's the year 1 of 3 if that rumor is true. So he's not rushing just yet. But if we do get first round exited this year, I don't know if anything maybe happens next all season, but next trade deadline we could see some really dumb overpays by the Rangers as Jury is starting to be put under pressure. I really don't know what the all-season plan is for the Rangers. I mean, most of our roster is locked up, like we've said, just because you have the extension of Mika, you have the extension of Fox, you have Artemi locked up, you have Kreider locked up, you have Trouba locked up, you have Igor locked up. I mean, you have a lot of the main pieces locked up. You still need to figure out.
Still trading Kreider.
Not with the way he's playing right now. You kidding me? He's
now
I
told you
he's playing
I
like an $8 million player
mark.
right now on a $6.5 million contract. I ain't trading him for crap right now. He's one of the few players on this team playing more than their value.
What?
He's one of the few players on this team playing over their value. I don't want to include Fox in that just because he's on the ELC. That doesn't count.
But I remember being the Kreider mark, and he's got to get rid of this Kreider. We got to get rid of this guy.
Yeah. I did say that. Okay, but then he decided to flip it around and have a career year. Not even a career year, like an elite year.
Again, him and Igor, the regression next year is going to be absolutely fucking amazing. The regression from both of them.
Sit here and say Igor is going to play like this every year. That's just unfair to say.
Exactly, the regression is going to be
none to say. I don't think Igor is going to fall to an average goalie. The past two.
I'm not saying that. No, I'm saying the regression of like.
I don't expect him to have a 940 save percentage. Okay, I do expect him to have like a 925.
Trust me, there are fans that think about that. Metsfan. Sorry, I hit some of my throat. I don't know what that was.
Of course, I don't expect him to have a 940 save percentage. That's ridiculous. Okay, you should never expect that from your goalie. But I mean, I don't know. The offseason, I think, is pretty set. I mean, we'll have to fill our second line center. I think Kakko will re-sign for pretty cheap on a bridge deal because, I mean, he hasn't had the bestest of years.
Give him 7.
We might re-sign Blais. I don't know. It depends on what happens with, like, Petrano and Kopp and the other people we picked up today. So maybe Blais re-signs. I wouldn't hate that. I liked what we saw from him in the first 20 games before he got hurt. If we can get up for 1.5 or something similar again, certainly won't complain about it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think the offseason is going to be too much. I think we're pretty much going to have a pretty similar team that we have now going into next year.
Now, y'all are going to trade Lafreniere and Kakko for Kane. Again, the Pens have the core offseason where Rust, Malkin, Letang, now add Raquel, all free agents. I have said it, and I think I better move one of Pedersen and Matheson, not Marino, Matheson. One of those two got to go. You have PO ready to go. You just signed Mark Friedman, who is a god, another demigod the Penguins have found, and Mark Friedman playing again. They extended him for 2 more years at $750K. They have the depth to get rid of a Pedersen, to move that money to maybe Letang or Gino has already said he's taking a pay cut and he wants to take a pay cut. So I'm not worrying about the Gino contract. It's Rust and now Raquel and Letang. Those are the 3 of them. Like, we're going to lose one of those 3 guaranteed, probably 2. And what are the Penguins going to do? I don't want to give Russ $7 million because I prefer, selfishly, kind of want them to sign Philip Forsberg, but selfishly, but I don't know. And Jari's deal was up, I think, after next season.
Jari, after next season.
After next season, so again,
we have
I
the
think
Smith at the end of this year, but I mean, it's easy to find a backup goalie for relatively cheap. So
we got what's the dude's name? I had like a 37 save shutout in San Jose. Oh, Louis Domingue, we're good. We got our back.
Oh, Louis Domingue, that's your
30,
banking on Louis Domingue.
Bro, he had a 37 save shutout against the Sharks. I'm like, what is happening?
You're getting a 44 save shutout against Carolina, and I don't bank on him as a backup. Okay,
Georgiev's good. That doesn't count.
He's a 1B. He's not a backup. Or even a 1A, arguably, depending if he gets the chance and proves it.
Don't tell Metsfan that. He thinks he's a literal fucking tire fire. But don't let him know that. But I think we'll end it here. We got an hour. If there's anything else Rangers you want to say, shout it out. If not, I think we're gonna end it here.
Strome survived another trade deadline, even though he wasn't really expected to be traded this time around. And Georgiev survived another trade deadline. That's all I gotta say.
The Rangers failed this deadline. They needed to go get a goal scorer, not some grit in the bottom 6. The Penguins would have liked them to grab another depth forward, but who knows? Maybe that is another move. Again, there's so many trades out there. Good job, Penguins, Rangers. You traded assets. Don't think it got much better, but hey, who knows? You got more grit. Which when Gensel's blowing past that grit.
All right, hold on. I need to step in here. To say we didn't get better, but we had McKegg.
Bro, McKegg is an awful.
Consistently, to say that Andrew Kopp isn't better, to say isn't better than McKegg is wrong. To say that Tyler Mott isn't better than McKegg is wrong. Okay, so we got.
I'm saying they're good players, but they didn't fix your problem. You're still a flawed team. You got better players. Don't get me wrong.
20+ goal scorer. How is that adding goal scoring? Frankie Vetrano is a 15+ goal scorer. That's adding goal scoring. You needed a 10+ goal scorer. That's adding goal scoring.
You needed a Shifley. You needed a Giroux. You needed a big name. You needed a goal scorer.
Not. You just want us to spend more assets. I know
you needed to get rid of first round picks.
You say it to me all the time. Go spend money so I don't have to see you guys for the next 5 years. You say it all the time. That's just what you're talking about. You're just chatting. You're just chatting.
Your window's closed, so you're good.
You're just chatting.
I'm not worried. If you don't win it this year, you're screwed. So.
Okay, we ate freaking Minnesota with $15 million dead cap next season. For the next
and
4 years.
Go add Flower. That makes literally how the fuck do they have $15 million in dead cap? So on that note, live stream will be on next Friday. The Pens and Rangers play again. I think it's an MSG. I think this time. So Tub will be here. This guy might be here. He blows me off all the time. So I don't know. Maybe he'll be here. But besides the point, we'll be doing that streaming. Again, opening day content. It's a couple weeks away. MLB The Show streaming will be back on the 31st. So there's that. Check out Mets Weekly this week. I'm hosting, so should be a shit show. And we're doing our Mets Weekly fantasy draft. So that's why I'm hosting. We're literally just going to chill out, watch the spring training game, and do our Mets Weekly League fantasy. So on that note, good job, Pens. Good job, Rangers, blowing some assets. And I will see you guys in the next